Hello, welcome to another highly informative and educative package of your program where we look at issues, trends, developments in the global ICT industry. We also play host to tech innovators, big thinkers, the professionals, and the CEOs who are driving today's digital economy. Our tech personality of the week is the Group Managing Director of Unified Payment, Dr. Agada Apochi. I'm sure you like this. Welcome to the program, Dr. Apochi.
Thank you for having me. I'm Dr. Agada Apochi, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Unified Payments, which is Nigeria's premier financial technology company. UP is a group of companies that is into financial technology, banking, digital commerce, value-added services, and payment solutions. The company was incorporated over 26 years ago and is owned by a group of Nigerian banks. And we provide services not only to the banking community, but the generality of the public.
How would you describe the state of the fintech sector in the last 1 year?
Well, I would say that the state of financial technology services and solutions in Nigeria is quite encouraging. Before now, we had to depend entirely on foreign partners for what is done in Nigeria in terms of technology, both hardware and software. Today, we have many companies in Nigeria today that own their own software. That is big progress. Additionally, we have a number of players that offer different services. So the operators are growing in number. The solutions that have been provided have also continued to advance. And we see a huge growth also in transactions. So I would say that financial technology companies in Nigeria are doing very well, and they have continued to provide services, thereby enabling Nigerians to do their businesses and make payments safer, quicker, more convenient, and in a manner that I would say aligns with the new preferences and behaviors and attitudes and lifestyle of people. You can undo transactions digitally from your handheld devices and across different channels, which is not what it used to be in the past.
Collaboration seems to be on the front burner lately. What would be your assessment, or what would be your definition or concept of collaboration to drive the growth of the ecosystem?
Well, you cannot be a successful player in the financial technology space, particularly in payments, without being an organization that collaborates with others. For us in Unified Payments, Cross-Enterprise Alliance is at the core of our strategy because you cannot do it alone. You have to work together and have an ecosystem that works for everyone before you even compete. It's by working together that you'll be able to create a large industry, and then you can have a share of that industry. So collaboration is at the heart of what we do. There is no single operator that can own the entire chain because there are different rules, there are different parties, and in the first place, you are facilitating transactions between individuals, between businesses and businesses, between government and people, people and government, and so on. So collaboration is not an option, it's not an alternative, it's a necessity. And as an organization in Unified Payments, it's at the core of what we do, and we will continue to collaborate with others to facilitate transactions.
In what ways do you think that collaboration within the ecosystem can help to mitigate cybercrime cyber fraud, cyber threat that we're having in the industry right now?
Well, there are different ways that collaboration can help. First, share information with each other about threats, what you observe, what you experience. And if fraud does happen, you also need to collaborate with other industry stakeholders to make sure that you are able to learn from that experience to prevent a repeat. And you are also able to go after fraudsters for purpose of recovery of lost funds and also ensuring that the long arms of the law catches up with those who perpetrate fraud. So cybercrime is another dimension of fraud. So we have to work together. I spoke earlier about defining standards. Those standards have to be defined at industry level, and people need to be held accountable. People need to uphold those standards. So by working together, you'll be able to prevent fraud generally and cybercrime specifically.
So what role do you think that the regulator, in this instance, I'm talking about the Central Bank of Nigeria, what role can it play to strengthen the growth of the sector?
Well, policy and regulatory frameworks are very important to what we do as an industry. So to that extent, the role of the Central Bank of Nigeria as a regulator cannot be overemphasized. However, when you talk of risk management, preventing cybercrime and other forms of fraud, I think that the job is more on those of us that are operators than the Central Bank of Nigeria. It will not serve any good purpose blaming the Central Bank or looking up to the Central Bank for prevention of fraud. They have their roles as regulators, but the responsibility for prevention and management of cybercrime and any type of fraud is first and foremost that of operators. The CBN has to be very intentional and deliberate and indeed stringent in granting licenses, in setting standards, and in holding people accountable. But at the end of the day, the job has to be done by the various operators. And we are stakeholders, and if we take our roles and responsibilities very seriously, and we uphold the standards being defined by the Central Bank of Nigeria and other regulators, including payment schemes and so on, then it will be safer for operators, it will be safer for users.
In what ways do you think that technology has helped, in the growth and development of the sector, especially in the area of providing the right infrastructure?
Well, what we are discussing is not something that can be achieved without technology. We have seen payments being digitized. That cannot happen without technology. And not only do we leverage technology, we also ensure that we leverage technology at a lower cost continuously. In most markets, it is difficult to consummate transactions instantly. It is difficult for businesses to receive settlement for their transactions within a short period of time. In other markets also, it is difficult for people to have access to their funds in their accounts immediately they are onboarded. These are things that have been made possible in Nigeria because we leverage the latest technologies to achieve that. Even onboarding process is something that has to be driven by technology. So without technology, we will not be able to create the kind of market that we seek to create. With the use of technology, entry barrier has also been lowered, and that has led to an inclusive growth because many of those who were otherwise excluded are now included. The rate of financial inclusion continues to grow, even though we are not where we want to be as a country. So exclusion rate is on the decline. And not only financial inclusion, but also digital inclusion. There are a number of people that are financially included but digitally excluded. Leveraging technology, those people can be included and at a lower cost than it is without the use of technology. You can see a number of Nigerians today that are able to withdraw and deposit money without going to brick and mortar bank branches. That is made possible by technology. The telephone handset can be used now as a channel for transaction. That is possible with technology. We have payment service banks in Nigeria now. We have microfinance banks that are leveraging technology to deliver their services nationwide. So technology is very important, and I would say that we have done well in leveraging technology to deliver services in Nigeria.
Despite these expansions and developments that you've mentioned, the rural areas seem to be left behind. How do you think that these areas can be well connected, especially in this digital age?
Yes, speaking about the rural and semi-urban areas, that's why I say that though we have made progress in terms of financial inclusion, but we are far from where we want to be. And those are people that have to be included. And that is why technology is very important. But because we are not going to include them through brick and mortar approach. Speaking to technology for inclusion, also we have to talk about data service, because a number of people at the lower end of the market, they don't have telephone handset that can be connected to the internet. Internet penetration in Nigeria is very low. And so we have to think of alternative approach. In unified payments, one of our subsidiaries, PayAttitude, is leveraging the USSD technology to be able to deliver payment services and solutions, and for people to make payment across different channels using their phone number as a means of payment, and authorizing such transactions from their handheld devices, whether or not it is a smartphone, whether or not it has internet service. So there's a lot that we have to do for those who are in rural areas, and we should continue to invest, because the more inclusive we are, the better for the entire country.
In what ways do you think that unified payments has contributed to the growth and development of not just the payment system, but to the ICT industry as a whole?
Okay, thank you for that. First, in terms of manpower, in terms of talents, we've made a very huge contribution. We have many talents in Nigeria today that I will tell you are alumni of unified payments. Nigeria, when people thought that electronic payment means going to take cash at ATM, we focus on enabling people to pay electronically instead of using cash. So that's a third first for us. We're the first company to deploy EMV, or full chip and pin solution, in Nigeria. By doing that, fraud rate was reduced by over 95%. In fact, the sources, the case study, made the Central Bank of Nigeria to rule that in Nigeria, nobody should issue magnetic stripe card, but only chip and pin could be issued in Nigeria. That is also a first from us. Unified Payments is the first fintech in Nigeria to own a payment service bank. Hope PS Bank is a subsidiary of Unified Payments. And it's not just first in financial technology, it is also the first payment service bank to launch in Nigeria. So there are different ways that we have contributed to the industry, and we continue to contribute to the industry. We facilitate transactions for different businesses that are in competition with us. And that for us is growing the market, building a bigger ecosystem for everyone to thrive.
All right, Dr. Apochi, we'd like to thank you immensely for finding time to talk to us and for the in-depth analysis that you've given to these issues raised before you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that was our Tech Personality of the Week, Dr. Agada Apochi, Group Managing Director of Unified Payments, one of Nigeria's leading payments companies. And that's half our time will allow us this week on this highly informative and educative package of your program. For comments and observation, please reach us in the numbers and emails now showing on your screen. I'm Don Pedro Agambi. I'll see you next time.